On the list of things I need to do more often, there is recording an episode of Thus Spoke Lord Nashu because I must speak and yet I speak so little. There's so much on my mind on like any given day. And I think to myself, I'll do that when I get home, usually from work. After I've had a moment to relax, sit down, and clear my mind. But then, as if the next day beckons, I fail to do that. And I'm just sitting on one thought or another. And then the brain just gets fatigued, I want to say, from holding all those thoughts in. And one thought that comes to me again and again whenever I'm in such a fatigued brain state is, why don't I just speak my mind? What is the folly of that? To have something to say yet refuse to say it. Even if you don't feel like it is something you have to say. The mind is the machine of communication. So while there is limits to what you should say, you should not limit yourself to say nothing at all. Certainly not when you're speaking to yourself. And sometimes that's really what you have to do. Because when you're communicating with someone else, you're hoping they're going to understand. And most of the time they might, but well, no one understands you better than you understand yourself. And you gotta let that be sometime. You have to speak because even in madness, even to only have an audience of yourself is to be realized. That is what the mouth is for. And screaming. One must never neglect the need to scream, lest they find themselves without a mouth, but the desperate need to. It's like, who are you doing a favor to while you're sitting in perpetual silence? Certainly not yourself, the person you're going to be with the most. And sure, I can promise you that there are tons of people who don't want to hear you talk. I have known tons of people who don't want to hear me talk, and yet I speak for me and those alike. But I think about that sometimes. I think about what it is to see a person in your life and say to yourself, you never want to hear them speak. You never want to know what's on their mind. You never want to know the world they live in. You never want to know them. It's like, how could you be so incurious? How could you be so self-centered? No, maybe. How could you want such a small world? And then, of course, when I follow that line of thought, I find myself right back at the mouth of Plato's cave, thinking to myself, there has to be some structural integrity to tear this cave down. I think, how could you claim to love a person who you never give the space to speak? And then as I think that, I find myself going to those moments where family members would say to me, oh, I love you, we love you, this and that and so forth. It's like, You can't lie to the silent person about your proclamations of love. Because if I was loved, I would never be silent in the first place. Love is acceptance of form, acceptance of, well, shape, yes, but shape and form are the same thing. Love is acceptance of variance. Because the universe is big and you find anomalies in it that you're happy to have witnessed. All the variables in the world, all the variables in the cosmos, asteroids flitting across vast skies, asteroids who know 1,000 alien worlds, all of those alien worlds, stars being born, stars exploding, the cosmic chimeras born of their local gravity. The universe is filled with anomalies, and by chance you were born, and by chance you met something that is different from you, and by chance you found that that was something you genuinely like. That is love, because there's a lot of entropy in the cosmos. You can't control that. But then you found an ordered state, and it's like, damn, this state is kind of nice. This form is kind of nice. This person is kind of nice. I'm glad to have met them. I want to continue forward and see how they will change. You can't say you love a person if you need to be able to deafen yourself to their transformation. Either you bear witness or you say you're fine turning your eyes away. But know that when you blind yourself, nothing is staying still. Even with my eyes closed, the world is still moving around me. So you make a choice. In that moment when your eyes are closed for a moment too long, you make a choice. You say, I am fine with the world not being the same way it was when I last had my eyes open. I am fine with missing how the world changes. You deafen this thing, you deafen this person, and you say to yourself, you're fine with this person not being open with you, not connecting with you, not being a something that you want to experience. That silencing is a declaration of your disdain. That is not love, for love is witnessing. So why say to the silenced thing, after so long of never listening, that there is love to be found there? I hate when my mind goes to that thought because it seems so miserable to me. When the world is so big and you can go so many places and meet those you want to be with, there are those who would prefer to stay still and, given the opportunity, ruin your chance to find love. Foolishness. It feels miserable and foolish because while you're holding someone back, you're rooting yourself there as well. You're making a choice to stop them from finding what they want to find, what they need to find, and also stop yourself. Because if you don't like this person, you're not going to want anybody to bear witness to them in your life. You'll try to hide them away. It's like, okay, you've hidden them away for so long that you don't even want to be around them yourself. And then I think about how miserable people are in the sense that they are just miserable saps. And it's like, ugh, how did I get to this? Frankly speaking, I would like to love people. I would like to invite them to sit down with me as I humor a glass of wine and monologue to myself about whatever I'm going to monologue to. I'm going to ask them to let me have a moment I'm going to share. And it won't be about them whatsoever. It's going to be entirely about me because I deserve that moment. And in between those moments, I'm going to feel that I like being around these people. But there's so few times where I could ever say that's the truth. So few times that when I do say it's the truth, I doubt it. I personally doubt it because I don't know what it feels like in not totality, but undisturbed reality. I have grown weary of people early into my time around them. I've grown weary of their immaturity. I've grown weary of their insecurity. I've grown weary of their general hate. And it's like I have stayed. But as we have grown, you have worsened. You have so much bile in you towards the world that as I grow older with you, it would turn me into something I cannot be. I am absolutely not allowed to be. If I were to stay with them, I would have to ultimately accept that I don't like myself because they don't like me. These are not people who like me. It's like, what am I staying here for? What am I staying here for? None of the excuses they're going to give me will ever measure up. Some try the game of time. It's like time is meaningless to me. Try again. Or to put it better, I'm reminded of a time where a guy I was getting ready to cut out of my life said to me, well, you know, love languages and quality time. I love you because of all that quality time we spent together. It's like, first and foremost, you bottom feeder. You're the same person who says you hate when girls happen upon stuff like love languages and then they get serious about them. So it's like you're already talking to me. You've already dismissed the language you're trying to use to a person who has a better grasp of it. And now you're going to say, well, quality time, And I'm like, how funny that this time that was quality for you was miserable for me. Because you could not stand me speaking. You could not recognize the volume of self. You did not want people to know my voice. You were a thief, and that was pretty much the only reason you would dare to say you loved me to begin with, so that you may continue thieving in one form or another. We're on our third cup of wine now, but well, we're deep in it, so it's gonna go that way. It's actually mostly cranberry juice. I can't suffer the taste of wine, but still, we were talking about love, weren't we? Or the lie of love, as it were. And there's the title. Thus spoke Lord Nashu on the lie of love. You say to me you love me when you can't hear me speak. You can't sit in quiet audience and then take that back later and grow from it. No, you have to make it yours. Or turn it against me. And you want me to say at the end of the day, oh, this person must love me because they said it. I'm like, no. If you did love me, you know that would never be the case. And so I asked this person. I asked them, all right, what is my favorite audio drama? I would have given them a bunch of answers that didn't really work. But like, at least show me that you paid attention. It's like, oh, what does that matter, they say. It's like, you're now going to talk over why it matters, and I'm not going to explain it to you. I'm going to let you dismiss the question and then just continue walking away. Because I did not spend all those years in the company of those who do not love me and did not learn what unlove is. That's an ugly thing, unlove. Dislove, ill love. No, not quite loathing, not quite hatred. Unlove. And I lived in it for so long. At that point, 30 years of unlove. I have recognized all the signs of hatred around me. Those things that people like his mother would say of her own kids. If he wasn't like this, I wouldn't have a problem. It's like I have seen the entirety of that. And it's like, what deluded creature taught you all that this was love? What deluded creature taught you that love was only ever spending time with someone when you're obligated to, and telling them to be all right when not being seen? We get there, don't we? After so much thought, we get there, and it's like, God's above. You are a miserable creature. Doesn't it feel miserable to be you? To believe unlove is love. To believe you can lie about what love is, doesn't that feel miserable? Your love, as you fail to say, but easily reveal, is an extension of yourself, not the variance of the universe, not its anomalous state, but how much of the universe is related to you. It's like you are insignificant. You are nothing. You are the whisper of of a dead world already spoken and forgotten. The universe is too big to be about you, you insignificant bug. So stop trying to make it be about you and watch how amazing it is when it's about someone else. But no, that's the nature of unlove. It doesn't let anyone else speak. It doesn't let them be in their space, in their zone, find their center and grow. Because the only reason you'd ever share a world with somebody is because it's about you. When ultimately it's not. It can't be. Because you can't do anything that will make the world better to live in. Not when you're living in a state of unlove. When you're living in such a state, all you can say is, well, at least I'm not. Instead of, look at all I've become. I suppose with that, in the last few sips of this cup of wine, that's that. That is the thought. And I would be delighted if you were to join me once again. Yes, probably.